Okay, we are rapidly approaching that finish line, folks. This is The Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker HD, I want to point out, because there are some differences between the Wii U re-release and the original GameCube version. For the most part, it's all kind of just graphical enhancements. There were some gameplay changes, like increasing the speed of sailing with the new sail that they added in the game, as well as a couple other minor things to speed up the game process in general. The biggest thing, though, that I think is probably the biggest shame, if you will, is since the Wii U online service is dead, for all intents and purposes, the Tingle bottles, which were added into this game to replace the Tingle Tuner, which was a Game Boy Advance system where you could link up the Game Boy via a link cable and use it to play a little minigame. Since that no longer is a possibility with the Wii U, they added these Tingle bottles that basically allow you to post and read messages online from people all across the world. It was a really cool system they introduced, and unfortunately is no longer a thing. But with Miiverse gone, that's kind of the way of the world, I suppose. Okay, so when we're talking about Wind Waker, where do I stand? So the reason I picked Wind Waker so foolishly at the end of this year was because it is my favorite Zelda. I've played a large majority of the mainline Zelda games, and I find Wind Waker to be the most enchanting. It certainly has the best charm, in my opinion. It doesn't overload you with story like some games do. It also doesn't give you too little like some other games do. To me, it strikes that balance where you feel like you are attached. Like the thing is with Link, you know, as a mute character, it sometimes is hard to connect. You know, in some games, I think they've done a pretty good job. But in others, sometimes it just feels like he's literally just there to fill the shoes, you know, for you as the player to imagine yourself in the role. But in this one, in Wind Waker, I find Link is the most charismatic he's been up to this point in the franchise, and I just find it to be an absolute delight. I think the characters are great. The dungeons are a lot of fun. There's quite a few of them. They absolutely don't overload you with bullshit. There is definitely some shit in this game that is frustrating, as it is in every Zelda. Now, not all of them are required. I do want to make it clear I did 100% this game, and that's just how I am with Zelda. I don't really like to play them half-assed. And that's not to say if you don't like getting everything done, you're not playing the full game. But to me, Zelda is all about the exploration, filling everything out, getting everything, and that's kind of part of the journey. So that's what I did with Wind Waker. Again, foolishly, as we're approaching the end of the year here. But I put this game off because I didn't know how I wanted to play it. Did I want to bust out the Wii U? I was kind of hoping it would be re-released for Switch this year, which I hope for every year. But I did play this one on my Steam Deck, which played flawlessly. It was an absolute blast. It was a ton of fun, and I really enjoyed that experience, kind of getting the same experience as I did on the Wii U gamepad so many years ago when it came out. The bullshit I mentioned, though, comes in the way of some of the side missions, tasks, quests, whatever you want to fucking call them. The swordsman, right? There's a guy in the village you can fight, and you have to hit him like 300, like 100, 200, 300, 500 times with only taking 2 hits, and it's fucking ridiculous. To get a piece of heart or whatever, like absolutely fucking ridiculous that you have to do that. And damn near, I mean, it is fucking brutal. I don't give a shit what anyone says. It is very hard. There's the battleship minigame with the guy who you play against, and it's a completely random draw. I've seen people post strategy online. To me, it is fucking random luck if you'll get it. And it costs rupees to play, so that's a huge pain in the ass. But it's essentially a game of battleship, and you just have to hope to win, because it is required. So there's the auction house where you have to bid, and I got fucking screwed over in the auction house because at the auction house you bid rupees on items, and there's like treasure charts, pieces of hearts, and the Swift sale, the new sale I mentioned earlier, is added in the auction house, and it costs a lot of rupees to win that stuff because it's just the way it works. But I got to a point in the game where I got stuck at a point where the game kind of forced me to a story section. And then when I went back to the island to do the auction house, it was locked because I was in the middle of the story section. But I didn't want to do the story it was a whole fucking thing. Look, at the end of the day, I'm really struggling here because, you know, I'm at the end of the year and I've got to get this out so I can get the 50th game done. But what I really want to say about this game is I absolutely love Wind Waker. I think if you've never given it a chance, you absolutely should. I understand it's not the easiest game to come across these days, and maybe one day Nintendo will finally put it out on the Switch or whatever the next console is. But until then, I do want to say this game is great. If you are a Zelda fan, and in this game, I know for a long time people were very anti-Wind Waker because it was in a movement where people wanted a very adult-esque Zelda game. What ended up being Twilight Princess and eventually Breath of the Wild is like this kind of mentality that people really were craving back when Wind Waker came out, and people were very negative against it. And I was one of those people. I kind of looked at it as like, this stupid kiddie game. I don't want this. But as time has gone on, I really think the light on this game has shone through tremendously. And I really think it has the character and the wit and the fun that you crave from that core Zelda experience. And I think as time goes on and we get games like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, I yearn for the day where we can go back and kind of play something like this, because this game really is something special. And, I'm glad I played it again because it's been such a long time and it really holds a special place. And don't get me wrong, much like many other Zelda games, there are parts that will make you want to tear your hair out. But when it's all said and done and you're there to fight Ganon and save Zelda, it really is a magical experience. And I genuinely think this is one of the best Zelda games. Is one of the best Nintendo games I think that is out there. And again, if you're a fan of Zelda, or if you've never really given the games a chance, or maybe you didn't give Wind Waker a chance, I highly recommend you do. Especially the HD version, if you can get your hands on that, because it is a very special game and it means a lot. And I think it definitely stands the test of time, which is always something to look forward to and to feel good about when that happens. Real quick at the end of this video here, I do want to mention next week, this comes out right before the holidays, so Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to everyone out there. But next week, on Friday, December 30th at 7 p.m. Eastern, I will be streaming on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/Simiinian. And I'll be back. I haven't streamed in a while, but I will be streaming live. A link will be in the description of this video as well. Head over there on Friday, December 30th at 7 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be my year in review. I'm going to give more details at the end of the 50th game video when it comes out next week. But I hope to see you all there at the year in review. That's Friday, December 30th at 7 p.m. Eastern. So long, everybody, and swift sailing.